How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie is a groundbreaking book on personal development and effective communication, first published in 1936 and remaining remarkably relevant even today. This timeless classic has transformed the lives of millions by teaching practical strategies for building meaningful relationships, earning trust, and inspiring positive change in others. Carnegie's teachings are not manipulative tactics, but sincere principles of human connection rooted in respect, empathy, and genuine interest in others. The book explores how simple behavioral changes like offering genuine praise, listening attentively, and showing empathy can transform both personal and professional relationships. His insights, supported by numerous historical and personal anecdotes, demonstrate that mastering social intelligence is a learnable skill rather than an inborn talent. The principles in this book have been widely applied in fields ranging from leadership and sales to education and personal development, making it a fundamental guide for anyone seeking to improve their interpersonal skills and influence. At the core of Carnegie's philosophy lies the principle of showing genuine interest in other people. He emphasizes that the most effective way to win someone's favor is to focus less on oneself and more on the other person's interests, desires, and experiences. Carnegie explains that people are naturally drawn to those who make them feel important and valued. One of his most famous points is the power of using a person's name in conversation, as a person's name is, to them, the most pleasant sound in any language. He shares a compelling story of a successful businessman who significantly increased his sales simply by using his clients' names regularly and sincerely during conversations. Carnegie highlights how world leaders like Theodore Roosevelt made it a habit to research the interests of their guests before meetings, ensuring they could engage in conversations that resonated personally with each visitor. This level of attentiveness created a sense of respect and importance for the guests, often leading to stronger alliances and friendships. However, Carnegie warns against false praise or flattery, emphasizing that it can backfire when perceived as manipulative. True appreciation, he argues, must be sincere and based on genuine qualities or actions. He recounts a story of a manager who turned around the performance of his employees not through criticism, but by praising their genuine efforts and acknowledging their small victories, which boosted morale and productivity significantly. Carnegie emphasizes that the desire to feel valued and recognized is a fundamental human need, and sincere appreciation can unlock a deeper level of connection and cooperation in all aspects of life. Another critical principle Carnegie explores is the importance of avoiding criticism, condemnation, and complaints. He argues that criticism rarely results in positive behavioral change and instead often leads to resentment and defensiveness. Most people instinctively justify their actions, even when they are wrong, because admitting fault can feel like a personal attack on their self-worth. To illustrate this, Carnegie shares the story of the infamous gangster Al Capone, who believed he was a misunderstood hero despite his criminal activities. Capone genuinely saw himself as someone who had done good for his community, underscoring the human tendency to self-justify. Carnegie advises against directly pointing out faults and instead suggests leading by example and offering constructive feedback in a respectful manner. One powerful technique he introduces is the sandwich method, placing constructive criticism between two positive remarks to ensure the feedback is more easily accepted. For instance, instead of harshly reprimanding an employee, a manager might begin by acknowledging their positive qualities, then gently addressing areas for improvement, and concluding with further encouragement about their potential. This approach maintains the recipient's self-esteem while still delivering important feedback. Carnegie also discusses the power of admitting one's own mistakes before pointing out those of others, explaining that this vulnerability can disarm defensiveness and foster mutual understanding. A notable example he shares involves a factory owner who, rather than scolding his staff for errors, openly shared his own past mistakes and demonstrated how the task could be improved, an approach that not only corrected the errors, but also strengthened the relationship between the leader and his team. Listening, as Carnegie explains, is a rare but powerful skill. Most people engage in conversations with the goal of expressing their own ideas rather than truly listening. Carnegie argues that genuine listening, where one focuses entirely on the speaker's words, emotions, and experiences, can dramatically strengthen personal bonds. He recounts the story of a woman who attended a high society event where she said almost nothing, but instead focused entirely on listening to her companion's stories. By asking thoughtful questions and showing sincere interest, she was later praised as a brilliant conversationalist, despite having spoken very little herself. Carnegie emphasizes that attentive listening makes people feel valued, respected, and understood. He encourages readers to resist interrupting or contradicting others, and instead ask open-ended questions that allow the speaker to share more about themselves. This skill is particularly powerful in conflict resolution, where simply allowing the other person to fully express their feelings can often dissolve tension and create space for mutual understanding. Carnegie also highlights the psychological principle that people tend to feel closer to those who let them express themselves. By becoming a great listener, one can build stronger personal connections, improve professional relationships, and become more persuasive without saying much at all. Carnegie also emphasizes the importance of motivating others by appealing to their interests rather than imposing demands. He explains that people are naturally motivated by self-interest and will be more likely to take action if they understand how it benefits them personally. To illustrate this, he shares the story of a bank employee who successfully introduced a new filing system by presenting its advantages in a way that highlighted how it would save time and reduce errors, rather than simply demanding its implementation. Similarly, Carnegie recounts the famous story of Mark Twain as a child when he was tasked with painting a fence. Instead of seeing it as a chore, Twain cleverly reframed it as a rare privilege, making his friends eager to participate in the task. Carnegie stresses the importance of presenting ideas in a way that connects with the other person's desires and goals. He suggests replacing demands with thoughtful questions like, "How do you think this could benefit you?" Or "What advantages could you see in this approach?" This strategy is particularly effective in leadership and sales settings, where the goal is often to inspire cooperation and voluntary participation rather than force compliance. Toward the end of the book, Carnegie revisits the foundational principles and stresses that successful relationships are built on sincerity, empathy, and genuine care for the needs of others. He emphasizes that every human being craves recognition, understanding, and appreciation, and that acknowledging these fundamental desires can transform relationships. His core message is that influencing others begins not with manipulation, but with genuine respect and interest in their well-being. He encourages readers to focus on self-improvement first, reminding them that positive change starts from within. By becoming more attentive, compassionate, and aware of others' perspectives, anyone can cultivate lasting personal and professional connections. Carnegie's teachings remain profoundly relevant across all aspects of life, from building friendships and family bonds to achieving success in leadership, business, and conflict resolution. His principles remind us that genuine kindness, active listening, and sincere appreciation are timeless tools for building a better world. Another key principle Carnegie emphasizes of how to win was not fully covered in the summary is the importance of letting others feel ownership of ideas. Leave a comment below naturally more committed to actions with your decisions and when they believe the ideas originated from themselves. Let us know what other books you'd like us to summarize rather than directly presenting solutions. Your feedback helps us create even better content for you. Subtly guiding conversations through open-ended questions, allowing the other person to arrive at conclusions on their own. For example, instead of saying, "You should try this method," asking, "What do you think about trying this approach?" makes the other person feel respected and involved in the decision-making process. This approach fosters collaboration, reduces resistance, and helps build a sense of mutual respect in both personal and professional relationships. Another crucial principle from Carnegie's book that was not mentioned in the previous summary is the idea of genuinely respecting other people's opinions and avoiding direct contradictions. Carnegie emphasizes that telling someone they are wrong, even when they are, often triggers defensiveness and stubbornness rather than open-mindedness. Instead, he suggests acknowledging the validity of the other person's perspective and finding points of agreement before gently introducing alternative viewpoints. For example, rather than saying, "You're mistaken," one could respond with, "That's an interesting point, I hadn't considered it that way before," followed by a thoughtful question that encourages reflection. This approach diffuses tension, keeps conversations positive, and makes the other person more receptive to new ideas without feeling attacked or humiliated. Thank you for listening to this in-depth summary of how to win friends and influence people. If you found this valuable, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below, and share this video with your friends and family. Let us know what other books you'd like us to summarize next. Your feedback helps us create even better content for you.